Bright Tuty. Every student matters.
Hello, everyone. So, coming back to the second part of the chapter of social stratification and function is the understanding of social function. What does social function mean? How does it work? How if it has types? What are the types? And how are those types defined? So, moving to the first and foremost understanding and the meaning of the term social function. Now, when you talk about social structures, so social structures and social organizations are units that are made up of different components. We did talk about our human body. We did talk about our body, which has different functions, which has different parts, which has different organs, and all of those work out as the different components which are present there. Now, when these components work properly, the unit itself does work. So, when the organs in our body, when there are all the organs in our body work properly, the unit, as in the body, it works properly. Organs being the components and our body being the unit, and the contribution made to a component to the working of the whole unit is the function of the component. Whatever function that our component is making, for example, if we talk about, let's say we talk about liver, whatever function our organ liver is having, and how is it helping for the better and the perfect functioning of the body, that is what is known as the function of the component, or function here in the examples way, function of the liver. They've taken a social example as well, wherein they are talking about family. So, family as a component of the society has some functions to perform for the benefit of the society as a whole. So, basically, what all functions, all the members or components of the society, or components of the family, means the members of the family. So basically, what all functions are being performed by the members of the family is something, and to have the benefit, or to perform the benefit of the society as a whole, is something that comes out as the social functions. Now, they are the social functions of the family. What all is the family responsible for? What all are the functions, or what all are the roles of the family to be a part of the society and for the benefit of the society, is what is being talked about. Similarly, other organizations have their own functions as well. Now, when these component units perform their functions, society as a whole can adapt itself to its environment. Now, all of these units, when they start performing their own individual functions, like family as a unit perform their functions, uh, then you have, let's say, neighbors or neighborhood as a unit that perform their functions, or let's say the schooling or the education that has their own and they perform their functions. So all of these scenarios have this aspect, and when all of these functions are working properly, when all of these functions are being performed properly, that is when the society as a whole can adapt itself to its environment. So that is when the society as a whole will be able to run properly and will be able to adapt to the environment around it. In other words, every component has a consequences or effects for the adaptation of the society as a whole. Every effort, every component does talk about some or the other consequences or the effects which are there, which play a very important role in the adaptation of the society as a whole. taking again, the example that we were having, any part of our body also has to adapt, also has to adjust themselves and their functions as per our bodily needs. If you have some kind of infection in your body, and your body has to be adjusted back to the normal, there are some of the organs that increase their work and and work together for the benefit of the whole unit, that is the body. And that is how the adaptation of the society or adaptation of that particular unit of the society takes place. It is from its perspective that social functions are defined. So, social functions are defined from that particular perspective of the society and that particular perspective of the adaptations only. Moving to what have our sociologists said about the social functions, you have Brown, who says that the function of a social usage is the contribution it makes to the total social life as the functioning of the social system. You have a total social system which has its own functioning, so a kind of contribution that you are making in the total to the total social life as the functioning of the system, of the total system, is what is being termed as the function. Moving on, you have R.K. Merton, who says that social functions are the consequences which make for the adaptation and the adjustment of a given system. So, what all adaptations or what all are there for what all consequences are required for the adaptation and the adjustments of a given system is what are being described as social functions by R.K. Merton. Moving ahead to how can these functions be classified. So according to R.K. Merton only, these functions can be classified into manifest functions and the latent functions. What are manifest functions? Manifest functions are open, stated, and intended goals. Very openly said, very clearly defined, and some things that are being intent to be done. So these are open, stated, and intended goals. You are being made clear, you are being made defined. These are defined goals which are made clear to you, functions of which we are aware of and which can be clearly seen and are evident. So, certain functions that we are very well aware of and can be seen and are very well evident in our actions, in our behavior, is what is known as the manifest functions. Then objective consequences which are intended and expected and which contribute to the adjustment or the adaptation of the system. So it has objective consequences which are adapted, which are intended, which are expected from the person, and that is how the adjustments or the adaptations of the systems takes place. Herein, they have taken an example which I'm sure you will be able to relate. The college is to provide higher education. There is a set, open, stated, and intended goal of what is the function of the college. The function of the college is to provide higher education. You are aware and very clear and very evident in your actions while you are satisfying this function. It has objective consequences and have that intention and have that which are intended and expected to be in a form that contribute to the adjustments of the system. So you have an education system In that particular system, you have colleges playing their role, and under colleges you have this you have their role of imparting higher education, and that is what manifest functions are. Moving on to what are latent functions. Latent functions are unexpected and unintended consequences, something that is not expected and something that is not even intended. Functions of which we are obviously not aware of because they are unintended and are not seen, or which remain hidden. So all of these which remain hidden and which are not aware, which we are not aware of, which we cannot see, come under the latent functions. Those consequences which are neither intended or nor recognized by the society. For example, they have taken that college is to prevent young people from seeking employment at an early age, thus reducing unemployment. We have seen that a very evident, very visible agenda or the function of the college is to provide higher education. But herein we see that one of the latent function is to prevent people getting into the jobs at an early age, thus reducing the unemployment rates. It is, or it is for you to gain those skills for the employment to be to you for you to have at a little later stage also. So this is what your manifest functions and your latent functions mean. Moving on to, there are furthermore three types of functions that have been defined, one being the U functions, then the dysfunctions and the non-functions. Now again, Merton further classifies into the U functions, which are the good functions, the dysfunctions and the non-functions. Talking about what are U functions, this means while functions are positive in their consequences for the adaptation of the system, when they are, this word here is system, when you have the positive, when the function is having, or the functions are positive in their consequences, that for the adaptation, that is known as the U function or the positive function, like they have said. Moving to the dysfunction is the negative consequences. The word dysfunction, this here clearly tells us about it. So it is the negative consequences for the adaptation of the system or the stability. For example, sending a son to school at a great cost can bring economic hardship to the family, thus making college education dysfunctional for the family. So you are trying to make certain aspect, you're trying to take certain action, but towards the end you witness that this is bringing economical hardships, which is a negative aspect of, or a negative consequence of the function, and hence it makes a dysfunction. Moving on to non-functions. Non-functions are those consequences which have neither positive or nor negative consequences for the adaptation. So these functions which have neither a positive impact or nor a negative consequence of for the adaptation of the society are known, or the system is known as the non-functions. Moving ahead, how have we decided on this, and what all is this study revolving around? So, the study and the analysis of the social functions of social organizations is known as functionalist analysis. It means that the whole analysis of the social functions, the whole study of the social functions and the analysis of the social functions of social organization is called the functionalist analysis. Both anthropologists and sociologists have done extensive work on this social functionalist analysis. Their approach and studies are known as the functionalist school of sociology. This is one very important thing for us to understand and for us to remember, because there are a lot of times ahead as well wherein we talk about the functionalist approach or the functionalist school of sociology. So, the functionalist school of sociology is wherein the anthropologist and the sociologist and the sociologist have studied about the social perspective or the social functions of the social organization. So, the study and the analysis of the social functions and this approach of study is known as the functionalist school of thought. An important aspect for you to remember for your further lectures and for even your further higher education as well.